Why'd I add you to the group? I feel like I added you for a certain reason.
I think it was like during GOT or something like that.
GOT? Yeah, or it was like theory time. Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
no, you know
Maybe it was a different show.
No, you know what it was? It was Lovecraft Country. And I was like, man,
Yes.
so good. I'm so confused.
Yes, that's what it was.
On the Easter egg guy.
Yeah.
That
okay.
changed my world. Because I was like, you mean I don't got to sit here and like
figure it out?
I'm not that bright when it comes to figuring it out. Like,
we're doing the hard work.
Oh my goodness.
Just to watch.
You know, I take it back.
Lovecraft Country went so deep into like all the like.
I take it back, Chris. I do watch not Netflix, YouTube for stuff like that.
Oh man, that's
like when there's a show and I got to figure it out.
Oh, you need it for this, like.
You
have to go back and like figure out.
And I still couldn't pick up.
Oh, you didn't figure it out?
I gave up. I watched one episode and I gave up.
Y'all couldn't figure the show out?
No, I'm talking about the season for or this new season. Like,
I stopped after like the first.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You can't pick up.
What season is this? 4, right? It got to be 4. No, the first one was when he was young and he was old. The second one was like the second time they were in the Wild Wild West, but they were going to different parts.
I'm a fan of this lead actor, not him, the guy from what's that show?
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, Breaking Bad.
He wasn't in season 1.
I know. That's when it
Who
was
is
good.
he?
I don't know why they have him as a lead actor.
Who is he?
Every other character.
Like what's his role?
He was a major role in it. And he had a major role in the last season.
Really? See, that's when I stopped watching it. When she got out into the real world, that's when I stopped watching it.
Welcome to First and 15, the only podcast that's trying to get you paid. I'm here with two-time FFPC champion AB. Alongside him is my guy, Dio the Machine. Guys, we just got done with preseason week 1. Any news, any notes? How are you guys taking in what you've seen? I know a lot of guys actually sat out, but is there still something noteworthy fantasy-wise after preseason week 1?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think there was a lot of interesting takeaways.
Yeah.
Particularly, from guys who didn't even suit up. So I thought that was interesting as far as the guys who were held out.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's, definitely quite a bit that you can take away from that, or that I'm at least noting. I think we had a lot of obviously preconceived notions before preseason started. You got to start from somewhere. Okay, you got to take some guesses. You got to take some shots. And so seeing how the preseason plays out, that first week is just another data point. So, for example, seeing Samaje Perine sit out. Some could just say that he was, a veteran. No need to play the veteran. He's gotten work. But we've seen other veterans play in the preseason. And then others could say that, he's clearly the handcuff behind Joe Mixon. And then some may make the argument, well, Chris Evans is just much more athletic. He's a younger. He'll eventually take the job. But I think, having that thought process can be dangerous. At times. You may hit, but, drafting Chris Evans a little bit higher than maybe you should, and then finding out that if Mixon does go down, they don't trust him the way that they trust Samaje Perine. Remember, they got their stud young quarterback who they want for decades, playing for them back there. So the idea that they're just going to put Chris Evans because we think he's the most athletic or because we think his spark score is so much better than Ryan's, I think is something that you can't just necessarily gravitate to. I think the Baltimore backfield or the Baltimore game to me was there was a lot there. Starting with Isaiah Likely, we had obviously had talked about him before, at least maybe in the group chat, as somebody who was emerging as like a younger tight end. I think from like our very first episode, we talked about the outlook of this Baltimore offense based off of what they did in the draft, what they did as far as free agency or lack of what they did in free agency. Nick Bowel coming back, and basically them just kind of returning again to their 2020 form of wanting to run the ball, multiple tight ends on the field. I think Nick Bowel being back as far as providing that blocking, allowing them to do what they can do on the ground level. The offensive linemen getting a little bit more healthy, Lamar being healthy, the defense being more healthy would allow them maybe more game scripts where they can actually focus in on the run. So to me, that's always been kind of in the back of my mind. And so if you recall back to that, time period, They had Mark Andrews, obviously, but they also had Hurst. Okay, and then I think they also had Nick Boyle was getting some targets, and there may have been another one. But tight ends were always involved. So Isaiah Likely, even though he's a rookie, I wouldn't necessarily say he's someone I'm drafting, but to me, in the back of my mind, that's somebody who can get targets because he's really not a blocking tight end per se. That's not his strong suit, and he's a rookie. But you saw how he flashed. You saw how they, he's been getting a lot of buzz. So he could potentially be playing that, Hayden Hurst role where he's, taking some targets away, and that's important for the other pass catchers. And then the biggest takeaway to me, we've been talking about this, is the Mike Davis, starting. And we all love to shit on Mike Davis. We all like to talk about how bad he's looked, but I think we need to think about a couple different things. Okay, so Mike Davis, got his claim to fame when he was playing with Carolina Panthers after McCaffrey went down. That offensive line and that offense in general wasn't all that great. But see, he was still very, very serviceable and helped a lot of people win a lot of money or help fill in, a valuable either flex or even RB2 and at times RB1 roster spot, okay? Then the following year, a lot of people overdrafted him, okay? I think most people were like, look, he's not worth that pick, but a lot of people overdrafted him. Cordell Patterson came up, and that left just a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. So people basically saying he's done. But put that in mind, though. He was playing for Atlanta Falcons. I mean, that was a bad team behind a bad O-line. Everything about that situation was bad. New coaching staff. I mean, Matt Ryan, not necessarily checking out, but kind of being, in his last year. Julio leaving. Then you had, obviously, the suspension with one of their elite wide receivers, Calvin Ridley, and then even Pitts, a stud tight end, that was still his rookie year. So that was not the greatest situation behind what some would say is a very bad old line. Okay, now he's with Baltimore, so I don't think that you can just necessarily say that he sucked, so he can't be the primary backup, which is important. Yeah, important. I mean, we have yet to see J.K. Dobbins really practice with the team. And even the limited videos that we do see, you can still see that he's favoring that knee. Okay? And even the reports about how complex that injury was and the surgery was, led us to believe that he may have had a delayed time frame anyway. And we haven't heard anything about Gus Edwards. So seeing him come out with that first team, okay, and seeing him run the way he ran, to me, he looked good. To me, he didn't look at, and I'm not saying good from a standpoint of okay, let's draft him, high up. But he looks serviceable. And for guys like that, if they can provide you 3 to 4 games, people underestimate how valuable that is, especially if it's the first 3 to 4 games of the season. Yeah. If you think about it, there's so much that we don't know that first 3 weeks of the season. So to be able to get a guy like Mike Davis potentially, say JK's not ready, or even if he's kind of ready, do you really think they're going to put J.K. Dobbins out there against the Jets week 1 and say, J.K., go run 20 carries a game? No. Are they going to put a rookie back there? Maybe, but, I know we all been kind of on Tyler Batty, and I was too, but, just watching that game, that's not something that I can ignore, and I think everybody's ignoring it, and I've just been drafting him, late. I've been trying to, play it and just, draft him in the 20th round, but I think he's worth a higher end pick than that. Because if I can, especially if you're going 0 RB or hero RB, or you drafting questionable RBs.
How high are you talking, though?
Say what?
How high are you talking?
He should be going ahead of a lot of guys who are getting drafted right now. I know a lot of people are going to use the argument, well, he's not a league winner. The idea behind a league winner, first you got to get to the tourney to be, a winner when it comes into these large field tournaments. And so I think in redraft leagues, people, again, they just underestimate how valuable guys like that can be. You don't need him for the entire season. You don't expect him to be there for the entire season. He's not some guy I'm looking at, I'm going to draft him, expecting I can just sit on him and then that last 3 weeks of the season, someone like a Damian Pierce. But for me, I think that's valuable. If I can plug him in, if we hear word that J.K. Dobbins is not going to play that first week, they maybe want to hold him out again. They may assume that they got the Jets. That shouldn't be a difficult victory for them. Then that Mike Davis, he'll likely see my starting lineup. If he was on my team, and that way it allows me to see, what's Kadarius Toney doing, what they're doing with Miles Sanders, what they're doing with CEH. how's Chase Edmonds look? And I'm not saying that I'm a for sure start him, but if I'm like questionable or like camp reports come out and the situation is looking a little bit more cloudy, well now I at least got somebody that if the situation isn't as cloudy and we continue to see Mike Davis, say now it's their third preseason game, we see Tyler Batty out there, but they arrested Mike Davis, and Mike Davis could get cut, and he could really get cut, but he's not costing you much right now, and he could potentially be the starting running back for a Baltimore team that ideally should be healthy from an O-line perspective, more run focus, and having Lamar. And having Lamar back there gets you in the red zone, and all you need is TDs. And we know he can catch the ball too. So, that's my long diatribe on never thought I'd be doing that for Mike Davis. And matter of fact, cut that, because I really do like my 20th round Mike Davis shares. But, I think it's just a matter of time before, I think he got – I was surprised someone stole him. I was thinking about I was going to double tap Mike Davis and Taylor Batty and 19th, 20 and just got too greedy. Someone took him, I think, in the 17th round. So
man, that's crazy. Dio, preseason week 1 is in the books. I know that you watched at least a handful of games. Your takeaways from week 1, anything that you've learned, and anything noteworthy.
So when I'm looking at preseason week 1 games, the biggest things I try to look out for, and Abby did mention a few of them, which players are sitting out, which players are playing, obviously the order they're playing, but the personnel groups, really, really important. I think that reveals a lot, who's playing with who, how much they're playing with them. Things like that is what I'm looking for, because that's one thing that no matter what tweets went out or beat writers put out, that's one thing you cannot have gotten
that's
from
objective.
any other source. Right. That's objective. Like that happened. It wasn't.
Are they playing on special teams?
Yeah, it wasn't like maybe or are they good at it. No, we all saw they played in this grouping. I think that's really, really important, especially because now that the preseason is 3 weeks, I'm not discarding a certain preseason game because now I feel like every preseason game has a little bit more importance, so that really stuck out to me across the board. So speaking on a few things that Abby spoke on with the Chris Evans and Samaje Perine, I agree. Perine sitting out was to some extent fairly significant, especially with Chris Evans getting some burn. I want to even say another running back got some burn with Chris Evans, but I'm a Chris Evans guy. I've been targeting him quite a bit, and for me, it didn't bother me as much. Now, obviously, I would have wanted if one of them to sit out, it would be Chris Evans for no injury concerns, and Samaje playing and trying to fight for a roster spot. But regardless, the reason it didn't bother me is because someone like Chris Evans, what I'm really betting on, and again, you kind of mentioned it, was his talent. I think if Perine, say Mixon got hurt and Perine came into the game, I don't think Perine's ceiling is that high. Now he'll play, he'll get the opportunity, and with the running back, anything can happen. I mean, we saw Rex Burkhead go crazy last year, But I'm just not excited with Perine,
I mean, I don't know. I think I have to disagree because I think when Perine has, had the chance to start, he's provided value. But I may agree with the standpoint that if Mixon goes down with an early injury, the likelihood of Perine being able to kind of sustain that over a long period of time, I think, is low. Yeah. But getting back to your point, I think a lot of this too, depending on who starts, who doesn't start, because we saw it with the Chargers as well, is how much do you believe in these players' talent? Right. And for me, Chris Evans, I don't think that he's that talented. Right.
And that's where we differ in opinion, because I think he's very, very talented.
I mean, the way they treated him at Michigan, and I don't know, I feel like he's not really maybe he's improved since he's been in the league. I feel like he had a lot of deficiencies.
I got you. But for me, and I think for a lot of people that are targeting Chris Evans, that's the thing they're really targeting. Yeah. And, that's what we're putting our chip on. So that wasn't disheartening, I guess is what I'll say. But again, we would have liked to have seen it being the other way around. You mentioned, who was the team you mentioned after the Bengals?
Chargers.
Was it the Chargers?
Yeah.
What did you mention about the Chargers?
I just brought them up right now. You talking
no,
about
I'm saying, who did you mention? Yeah, before, after the Bengals.
Oh, Baltimore? Right?
Baltimore.
Who? I thought it was Bengals, another team in Baltimore. Anyways, as far as Baltimore is concerned, we talked about
the Dolphins.
The Dolphins? Did we talk about that already?
Okay.
I feel like we missed
I
that.
don't know.
No, we were going to talk about anyway. I thought it was a 13. Anyway, so as far as the Ravens, likely, yeah, we like that. Again, I think you were talking about Hurst and how they used to have those tight ends. I agree with that. I like the fact that likely was being used. They keep talking him up.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be an important part of the offense. And to be honest with you, yeah, we can talk about giving Lamar Jackson more receivers, more weapons to use, or we could talk about Duvernay or Proche. I don't even know if that's how you say his name. Proche. Him having a bigger part of the offense. But maybe it's just a situation where Lamar is better at throwing to his tight ends.
Yeah.
You know,
middle of the field.
maybe that's just
Bigger
where
targets.
he's more successful. So if that's the case,
And
likely
it may be a happy median. Like Lamar, I think is going to grow as a quarterback. Quarterbacks tend to grow.
No,
there's been reports that they've been throwing the ball a little bit deeper.
every year there's no type of reports.
Yeah, but we know he favors that middle of the field.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why I like Bateman so much. But my issue with Bateman,
I think Bateman's going to be outside though, right?
Say what?
You don't think he's going to be outside?
I think he'll operate all over the field.
Okay.
My only issue with Bateman, as far as just being a smash play, is how many targets he's going to get.
Yeah.
Regardless of how good he is, how many targets he's going to get. That's my only issue.
And then the other thing you mentioned was Mike Davis. For me personally, and I think this is what kind of made it an issue last year, even though people didn't really talk about it much, was before last year, Mike Davis wasn't really a high end or a player some people consider talented. He had been bouncing around on teams.
Yeah.
And like you said, the only reason he got the opportunity is because C-Mac went down. Obviously we didn't know at the time, but you can look at last year when C-Mac went down and, Foreman got, value. So it's almost a situation where it became situation based. And, just that meteoric rise in ADP last year, people were just kind of like, ooh, this is a little bit too rich for my blood, that picture came out, got people back on, but
and we faded him.
Yeah, we faded him. So I think that's why when you look at him moving to Baltimore, even though, and I heard you talk about it, and honestly, you made a lot of sense. A lot of things I didn't consider. I kind of ignored the situation, but in reality, if Dobbins is not ready, and everything we've heard about Gus is pessimistic, and Beatty, by the way, it's Beatty, and Beatty is a rookie, so typically rookies don't come out the gate, just the guy.
Yeah.
Low man standing, and they just cut Corey Clement.
Yep.
Low man standing might end up being Mike Davis. So, and we're talking about a team that historically has run the ball very well, so it might be another situation where opportunity arises.
They gave Freeman a chance last year.
Yeah.
They gave
Who's serviceable,
Murray a chance last year. They gave who's the other former Pittsburgh Steeler? Le'Veon Bell a chance last year.
Yeah.
So they gave a lot of vets
going all over the place.
opportunities last year. And again, we don't know how that backfield is going to play out. But to me, I think if I'm only spending a 20th round pick on him, I'm not investing a lot.
Right.
It's just kind of a little hedge. Especially, if you're drafting J.K. Dobbins, you need to be. I don't understand how you're not drafting Mike Davis. I guess you can always make the argument. Well, I got other guys I can just fill in that I may feel more confident in. But Mike Davis behind a really good old line with Lamar at the quarterback opening up lanes.
So to add on to those teams, and we're going to talk about Pacheco, I'm assuming later.
But that's our next topic. Let's just talk about it now.
But wait, I want to mention the other players
Chargers. What you think about the Chargers?
I was going to mention them too,
Okay.
but Pacheco, seeing him in those personnel groups, him playing a fair amount, going out with the starters, that's significant. The Chargers, Austin Eckler obviously didn't play, but the first running back up was Josh Kelly.
And they asked Austin Eckler, I think he was some interview, and he was talking about fantasy as he normally does. And the first name, and I think the only name that he brought up, or the only name that I heard, as far as other running backs kind of stepping up and giving them a breather at times, was Joshua Kelly.
Yeah, y'all saw in the group chat when I literally put Josh Kelly is the running back too, that sealed it, and I actually started targeting him a little bit. So that was significant. The Cardinals, Darrell Williams sat out.
Yeah.
Eno played. And Eno split time with I want to say his name is Jonathan Ward on the running back. That's significant because I'm an Eno guy, but I didn't ignore that. Rex Burkhead sat out.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about it much at all, but he sat out. It's in the same vein of what we're talking about now. So,
and some of these we don't know if it's the old vet sitting out, or if it's the first team sitting out. But you see sometimes vets play. You see vets play.
Yeah, but with that, but the Texans sat out Brandon Cooks. They sat, they sat some guys. I'm just saying, let's not just totally ignore it, because when you totally ignore situations, that's how you lose value. So, So yeah, those were significant to me. Isaiah McKenzie still playing a fair amount over Jamison Crowder with the starting group.
I want to say Raiders. I want to say Josh Jacobs and Amir Abdullah.
But Amir Abdullah, we forgot to mention him.
Y'all laughed.
I did laugh.
Amir Abdullah, I'm telling you, he's the third down. And you got to like these preconceived notions that this guy sucks. I mean, in the right offense and the right circumstance. Remember what he did last year with the Panthers.
Right, it's not mutually exclusive. He could suck. And still score fantasy points.
I actually think he has a lot of juice. I think in the right role, if you're just saying, we just want you to play third down, that is a great role for him.
I mean, he's
a great role for him.
He's that agile type running back. So as long as you get the ball in his hands, almost like Reggie Bush when he was still.
That's why when you keep telling me Tony Pollard looks so much better than Zeke, these scat backs, they should look better than the in between the tackle backs than the workhorse. No, these scat backs, they should look better. They're the quick, twitchy, like quick in small spaces, like. They should look better. Hey, but when they don't look better,
he had to get that.
And when they don't look better, that their counterpart is being drafted in the first round.
Yeah,
the Dalvin Cooks, the CMCs, the who else is it? Who else in that? Jonathan Taylor, obviously. Those guys are fast, athletic, and can run in between the tackles. But otherwise, if your scat back looks better than you, then typically you're not going to the first round.
But wait, I'm not finished.
Sorry, I had to get that. I had to get that little jab.
Go ahead.
A few more. And I'm rambling because I'm just coming to my head. But the Giants playing Wan'Dale Robinson with the starters and having him come out with the starters solidify where he's at. Jahan Dotson playing more than Samuel. Samuel played, but Dotson played a fair amount. Yeah. That's another one. But one of the biggest ones that stuck out to me was Michael Carter started the game for the Jets.
And
Breece Hall
way overweight on Michael.
Breece Hall kind of rotated in for him. And when Breece Hall was first drafted, I think the consensus across the board was he's their guy.
That was our consensus as a fantasy community.
Right, that's what I'm saying, across the board. That's what I mean by that. Across the board in the fantasy community, across the board he was the guy. But in reality, when you look at the situation, he was drafted high, but he wasn't a first round pick, and they might have literally looked at him as like a value pick. I mean, I know they traded up for him, but again, still value where he was picked, and just another addition to that running back room. And if he's just an addition, and it becomes more of a, 1A, 1B, whoever A or B is, then Carter's value for as late as he's going is pretty good.
And the argument for that is they spent so much draft capital on it.
On who?
On Breece
Hall.
And but
it's still a second round pick though.
And I always hear that argument. I know, and that is like a first round pick like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But I always hear that argument. But there's so many situations where these guys, have this draft capital but don't play. Like that argument was used for Kenneth Walker over and over and over again. I'm like, they literally drafted Rashad Penny in the first round, and didn't play him. Like this is not like by the same regime, the same head coach. So I think it does matter, and that's not to say like Breece Hall is not worth his draft.
It's not to say I lost my bet. You basically trying to talk about
no, but that's not to say that he's not worth his draft capital. But that's to say that like you can't like I think if you marry yourself to a certain idea or a theory or ideology on like a certain situation, and you just like gun ho and gonna die on that hill and pretty much like exclude all outside additional information or new data points like you said, you potentially could be.
Yeah, but that stuck out to me a good amount because I think us across the board have just been like, especially with how high Breece Hall is going. He's like a top 4 round pick, third or fourth round.
If he was in a better offense, I'd probably take that stab. Yeah. I'm just not a not a believer in Zach Wilson. If Joe Flacco was a quarterback, maybe. If Joe Flacco, because I feel like Joe Flacco, and it's not that Joe Flacco is, more, obviously he's not more talented than Zach Wilson. We all know that.
He might be though.
But from a standpoint of being able to like get the ball out quickly, on time, and on target, like I would be, locking in Elijah Moore 5th round. Like
Flacco might be better than Zach Wilson though.
No, he is as a quarterback. He is right now. But I mean, as a prospect,
why would you say he's not?
He's just not.
The only thing
we know Wilson, what Flacco is, man.
Flacco is a Super Bowl.
Did you see Flacco come? They struggled the entire
MVP,
year
a Super Bowl
last year.
MVP.
Zach Wilson got hurt.
That was like 10 years
ago. And then Flacco
ago.
came in and lit them up.
Right.
Remember, because I remember I played him in DFS. Everybody like, you gonna play Joe Flacco? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna play Joe Flacco. Yeah. He lit him up, put him in the captain spot.
I'm not hitching my wagon to Joe Flacco, but let's talk about Isaiah Pacheco. Listen, he's going really high in drafts now, shooting up drafts. What, 6th round yesterday?
Yeah, he went 6-12.
The 6th round in a main event?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let's talk about Pacheco. Is the love real, man? Like, are y'all buying this hype? Like, do y'all think that, well, he's clearly not worth the 6th round pick. But where do you think he should go? And
I'm
how
not
do you
going to
guys
say.
feel about
Look,
it?
I'm not going to say what he is or isn't worth because I think that is.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Yeah, that is in the eye of the beholder. So it depends on where you're drafting. When we talk about Kenneth Walker, it's going to be the same scenario. If you believe in Isaiah Pacheco's talent, not just as like a scat back, but like he can like, operate near the goal line. He can like do it all. And you want to buy into all the camp hype and you want to, include that data point of him like at least playing, 1 or 2 series with the starters after CEH. And then you want to buy into CEH not being like what he was, projected to be, coming out of college, and an older Jerick McKinnon, then maybe he's worth a 6th round pick. Maybe he's worth a 5th round pick. Because if he is the lead back for Kansas City, then in all honesty, like he's worth a 3rd round pick. But for me personally, no, I don't feel like he's worth a 6th round pick for a number of different reasons.
All right.
The overarching reason for me is that this is a Super Bowl championship team. And I just don't feel like they were going to be putting so much onto a 7th round rookie's plate, expecting this much from them. Not from a team that wants to win the Super Bowl. I just have a hard problem believing it. Second thing is that, like, sometimes you have to look at things from like an organizational head coach standpoint. Some organizations have no difficulty as far as like, or no issues with saying, you know what, let's go trade for such and such. You know what, let's kick the tires on this veteran. And we've seen the Chiefs do it multiple times. We've seen them do it multiple times with LaShawn McCoy, with Le'Veon Bell, with Damian Williams, with Jerick McKinnon last year. They have no issues bringing these vets in and then giving them the work. You know, and then they did it with Darrell Williams last year too. So I think, it's going to take a lot for me to see from Isaiah Pacheco, or to trust in Isaiah Pacheco. And I just don't think he has enough time, at least for me, to like buy into that. And I'm not sold necessarily that he has gotten, the 3rd down work. Like Jerick McKinnon looked damn good last year. And the fact that Jerick McKinnon got one play with that first team offense, that one play to me means nothing. That one play though means that, you know what? He played with the first team offense. And he did very well in that role last year. And he's a veteran. So like, why would they just completely go away from that? I see, I was listening to, I want to give this credit to, I think it was Greg Cosell, and John Hansen, the Fancy Points podcast. And Cosell said, I don't like the word gadget. I like package player. I see Isaiah Pacheco as a package player, And so I think the Chiefs, them being smart, like, let's get this guy out there. Let's get some, get people thinking about him. So that when we put him in the game, defense has got to think, okay, is he getting the ball? And we may see him in the game with CEH. We may see him in the game with Jerick McKinnon. We may see him like lined up in the slot. But I think he'll be more of a package player. So that, someone like that for me, like I don't feel comfortable drafting him in the 6th round. I can't lean on CEH. I started off early in the draft season drafting CEH, praying they didn't like draft or sign.
Bring back McKinnon.
Bring back McKinnon. And they brought back McKinnon, and that was enough for me. And people really didn't want to like speak on that. But I don't, forget about McKinnon's age. Just go look at what he did last year. And we're not even 1 year removed from that. Go look at what he did last year. Then go look at his, profile. And he's not someone who he has had injury history. We know that he can't stay healthy, but they're not depending on him to stay healthy. He's not a 250, 300 touch type back. All they needed him to do is play 3rd down, and he did it so well last year. And then this is the last thing that I'll say. And this was, when we were talking about Rojo, one reason I was like not on Rojo, and I brought it up on the last podcast, is because think in your mind to the Kansas City Chief offense when they're in the red zone, when they're near the goal line, when they're in between the 5s and in between the 10s. Just think about all the plays that they run. Think about how they score touchdowns. In your mind, do you ever picture them like just a running back getting a handoff, scoring a touchdown? Think about it once. I can't even, like, it's so hard. The only time I can think about it is when they gave it to CEH 3 or 4 times against the Texans, and it took it forever to like get in the end zone.
But I feel like that's what they want to do, though, because I felt
Why
like
would
that's
they want to do that?
Because I feel like that's what burned them when they lost to the Bengals, and that's what they want to do.
So-
they want to be able to not be such a gadget team anymore and to be able to run it down your throat. That's why I think they have this receiver by committee, and that's why they brought in MVS and they have Juju. Is that like I think they want to spread the ball out a bit. I think they want to be a more conventional team and not make Patrick Mahomes have
See,
to.
I disagree with that because how much money did you pay Patrick Mahomes?
You paid him a lot of money.
Who is the best player on your team?
$500 million?
So do I want to I have Patrick Mahomes. Do I want to take a chance with CEH handing the ball off, Jerick McKinnon, or this 7th round rookie Isaiah Pacheco? Or do I want to trust Andy Reid as a play caller and Patrick Mahomes? I'm not saying that they're not going to ever run it near the goal line. I'm just saying that they get so creative. I mean, they'll hand the ball off to Kelsey on an inside trap play, or they'll do like a little screen play, or they'll do like a little end around with Tyreek Hill, or they'll have the back, run a little flat out of the backfield. I think they like having a back there who has the capability of passing because now the defense has to think. They're not sure if it's going to be a run, a play action pass, if the back is going to go out and run a route. So they have to think, and I think that's the mind of because I was with you. I thought maybe and they have a great O line, so I thought maybe they want to okay, they lost Tyreek Hill, maybe they want to go back to the run game. But I've kind of come full circle. And I'm like, you know what? They got Patrick Mahomes. Why the hell would they Why would they be like, you know what? Let's take the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands and get it. I think they felt like they probably figured it out, and I think Andy Reid, being the kind of coach that he is like, okay, this is how they stopped us last year. I got something for that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's the type of coach that okay, we had issues passing the ball. You know what? We got to be more balanced. When has Andy Reid ever been like, you know what? We need to run the ball more. Never.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's possible, but I'm just kind of leaning on historics, and I'm leaning on who's their best player.
I got you.
You know?
I got you.
I think.
Yeah, what you think about Pacheco? Where you draft Pacheco?
It's convoluted, man. It really is because
complicated.
let's back up.
Yeah.
All right, let's back up. So a couple months ago, I put a tweet out where I said Rojo is going to take CH's job, right? And the reasoning behind that tweet had less to do with Rojo and more to do with CEH.
Yeah.
Because I think the Chiefs were starting to look at CH as somebody they probably couldn't depend on being a every down back or even a main back. I think I heard a rumor, or maybe it's not a rumor, but it was actually proven that he was sick or had some kind of ailment last year where his weight went down to lower than the 170s or something.
Oh yeah, he had gallbladder. Yeah, he had gallbladder surgery.
So think about how small that is for that to be a running back in the National Football League. So.
But that's like a one-time thing. I mean,
right. All of these are one-time things to some extent, but it's just another thing that makes me say the Chiefs probably want to find a more dependable alternative. And I think the biggest issue they have with CH is they drafted him so high, where they just can't say one day, we're going to phase you out or even cut you. It's almost like they have to. I wonder, has it come up on his 5th-year option extension? I wonder if that's come up. And if it has,
I think he's a year.
One more?
Yeah,
I wonder if they're going to,
I don't see them bringing him back.
But
the thing is, at times last year, before he got hurt again, he didn't look that bad in between.
Right, but that's the thing, though. You can say that all you want, but the NFL season is a 17-game season, and it's a grind.
But they know that. That's why they're not going to depend on one back. Even when they won the Super Bowl, they won it with Damien Williams.
But that's what I'm saying. I think they looked at CH we can't depend on you as an every down guy, so let's find somebody that we probably can. And I think when they first brought Rojo in, that's possibly how they envision him. But a wrench was thrown into the plans. That's what I think. I think once they saw Pacheco and how talented he was, how he can kind of fill these roles and some that maybe even Rojo couldn't fill, that they kind of had to change of plans. We got this guy, let's try to put him where maybe we would have thought about putting Rojo.
But did you see Rojo in the preseason?
I didn't.
Okay, he was not. Forget about the carries. There was one. I think it was. I don't know if it was a play action pass, but it was a passing play for sure.
Yeah,
completely whiffed on his.
No. I mean, I'm not.
We know that's an issue. I'm not arguing. He can't catch.
Right, but I'm not arguing the talent level.
Yeah.
Again, I said it's less about Rojo and more about CH. I feel like they were looking for somebody else to play the role, you know? So now, let's fast forward. This Pacheco guy, he's been getting a lot of rest with the first team. Almost splitting carries with CEH. They're throwing the ball to him. They're using him near the goal line so they can kind of see, this guy we can trust when we're in the red zone to run it up the gut. Pacheco might have fair value, you know?
What's fair value? 6th round?
So let me finish my thoughts.
Okay.
So he might have fair value in the fact that he might have a secure role with that Chiefs team.
Yeah.
And if he has a secure role, then he can fall. I mean, he's going to fall into fantasy points, like just off top. The problem I have and have always had with Pacheco is I watched his tape from in college, and he just didn't impress me. You know, he didn't. He didn't look like a guy that I was excited to have.
People are making a lot of excuses for him. You know, the excuses come up is just like, the coaching scheme or the offense that he was
I didn't even hear any
like,
of that stuff. So people are saying
this is what people say. So like
Okay.
I don't really put much stock in it, not necessarily because not what they're saying is not factual, but because I don't know. I don't know how to prove that.
So for me, college wise, he just didn't look very talented. But at the same time, when I'm seeing, the preseason game, he actually looked pretty, good.
He wasn't amazing in preseason.
I didn't say amazing. I didn't say amazing.
He was okay. He looked like a scat back.
I didn't say amazing. I'm just saying the way he looked was better than what I even expected him to look like.
Problem is he looked better than CH.
Yeah, maybe that's what I'm. Maybe this is all a CH discussion.
Yeah.
Maybe that's really what's going on.
Yeah.
But so going back to the answer to your question, I'm coming back around.
Yeah.
Because I believe the role is secure.
Yeah.
Right.
If the talent is truly there, then I think 6th round might be okay.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, vice versa.
Okay.
If I'm right about the talent not really truly being there, then I don't think he should be no higher than the 15, like with those backups. But the reason I'm saying this is because if he has the talent, again, let's go back to CH.
Yeah.
I think he's going to take CH's job.
I
I think that tweet where I was saying about Rojo is really more so it should have been Pacheco's going to take CH's job.
I think they do different things. I don't think Pacheco is a guy that you give 15 carries a game. I think you reserve that for CEH. Which if
I don't know.
If CEH's role is like in between the 20s, 15 carries, that was like the role that I didn't want. That's why I was like, okay, if Rojo has a role, I'm fine with that role. But if that's a role that CEH has, like, yeah, CEH is like worthless right now. But this is my thing, is like I would put money that if both Pacheco and McKinnon stay healthy the entire season, that McKinnon outscores him.
Okay.
And I don't think that it would be all that close, to be quite honest.
Okay. So again, I think the problem is I think they're going to get to the point where they're going to say, okay, we could trust these other guys more than CH, and CH is not even better than these other guys. Let's give the other guys more of the workload. Then it's going to be really problematic for CH.
So basically, just stop drafting CH.
I've kind of been on CH for a little.
Me too.
Honestly, ever since I put that tweet out, I've kind of been off CH because it just felt fun. And then when they signed McKinnon, it's just like, damn, it makes it even worse. Are you still on CH at all?
No, I haven't been on CH in a main. I drafted him once in the main because he fell to me, I think, in the 8th, and then even then I was like, you know what? Like,
still didn't feel good, right?
Did not feel good. Like, that's when you know.
You know, it's funny that thought right there. I tend to value draft a lot, but in the past, like when I've had a situation like that where it's like a guy fell to me because he was going like 2 rounds earlier, but I was just like, I mean, he's right there, and I drafted him like with that same type of reasoning, and then the season plays out, I still like didn't see like I shouldn't have drafted this.
Because you totally forget about it once the season starts. So it doesn't matter.
There's value-based drafting, and then there's just like falling into the trap.
It's like I still don't want this guy on my team.
Sometimes you don't know. Like we could like look back at this, in season, and then again, Pacheco just being literally just a package type player, having a couple plays here.
I like that term, package. Who you said that? John Hanson?
No, that was
Greg Cosell.
Yeah,
I like that term, package player.
It makes it like less derogatory.
Yeah.
Like instead of saying gadget.
Right.
Because every time I would bring up Rondell Moore, you'd be like, man, he's a gadget type player. I'm like, man.
He's a little more than that.
So again, I think people are really taking him at his like
his peak,
his average.
What's his average? What round?
I think he's being taken right now like the 9th or 10th typically. I feel like that's too low if he's gonna have the role and he's talented.
Pacheco.
You don't know.
Yeah, but I feel like it's too high if he just has the role but he's not good.
We don't know.
We don't, but that's what I'm saying. I feel like you were taking him at the average. And that's why when you were saying that about the 6th round, the reason why it's shocking because he didn't have to take him in the 6th round. I think we had a discussion about this.
I had him in the main where I got him like I think in the 13th or 14th
right.
round.
Like we've had a discussion in the past where like you can like a player. Like say I'm sitting here and saying, with all things said and done, I think Miles Sanders is going to be the running back 1 at the end of the fantasy season. Like bump it. Say I literally went into the future. All right, and I was like, Miles Sanders running back 1, and then I came back, right?
I'm trying to tell y'all.
And then I get in the draft. I'm still not going to draft Miles Sanders at 101. I'm going to get him wherever he's or close to where maybe around earlier. Just even though I believe he's going to be not just believe, I know.
I know.
So the same with this Pacheco thing. If I know I can get him in the 9th or 10th, I think I've seen him going. I probably, if I was so sure, I'd say, let me get him in the 8th. But this guy took him at 6:01.
No, 6:12.
Okay, the end of the 6th. Okay, but still, a place where a lot earlier than anybody else would have expected to take him. So I wouldn't do it, but again,
Yeah, I'm not gonna knock him. I just thought, like I said, get your guy season in full effect. Like,
but get your guy value, man.
Yeah.
But that's the thing is like, so players like that, like, and I was in another main with the I'm not gonna give out his draft, but just to say he's a very, very good high stakes player, and I got guys in my queue. Y'all know I love George Pickens, obviously. I love Wandale, the guys that I like. I got these guys in my queue. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get these guys like 2 rounds ahead of ADP. Make sure I get them. And he took him like in the 8th round or something like that.
Does he recognize you?
Huh?
Does he recognize you in the draft?
We know each other.
Okay. Does he?
But he's probably more of a Pickens fan than I am.
But do you think he knows that you're a Pickens fan?
That I don't know.
Do you think there's any chance?
I don't know.
Well, if there's any chance, then once he saw you in the draft, he was like,
I know you're not getting him. Exactly. I don't know if I'm getting him, but I know you're not getting him.
He probably had you mapped out to like, okay, this guy's the 10th round, and Abby likes him. I'm gonna get him. But 3 rounds earlier.
But what I'm saying is that there are certain guys where, like, yes, they're hype players, and we may not want to believe in the hype. We may like say, oh, that guy's overvalued. I'm not gonna, if you don't believe in Isaiah Pacheco, you may say that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But then there are guys who are hype players, and then we come to find out, oh, that hype was real.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have listened to it. So George Pickens to me, like, is kind of like one of those guys.
Would you recommend people drafting Pacheco?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he should be. I was drafting him before then.
Okay.
And then for whatever reason, I kind of stopped, and so I don't think I can draft him there. I think I'll just like take a dart throw.
I think it's still okay to draft him there. I mean, it sucks. You're missing the value that people got, a lot earlier, weeks earlier. But if he's still gonna be what people are hoping he's gonna be, then he's still worth drafting.
And this is and to be clear, you're not considering him a handcuff at all.
Who, me? To see it? No. If I'm I see Pacheco as, again, just whatever I was saying about Rojo back then, just replacing that with Pacheco. I think I see him as a guy that probably will take that job, know. Okay, so you're in your draft, right? All right, so you're in your draft, right?
I'm in my draft.
So you're looking at how the board is falling. Okay, so you see Pacheco, and you're in the 8th round.
Okay.
Are you then going to say, okay, let me draft him now because I know people are going to take him, but at the same time, I'm drafting him early than what I was drafting him before.
You mean if
just to take him from other people? Yeah. That's what I meant to ask. Are you a Pacheco guy?
No, and I'm not against him.
So you think he's a handcuff?
No, I don't think he's a handcuff. I've drafted him. So to me, he's a player like
You think he's a package guy?
I don't even know if he's a package guy.
Okay.
He's an I don't know guy.
Okay.
And for an I don't know guy, I don't want to spend a 6th round draft capital on him.
Okay. So let me ask you this.
I don't know. Because like I just said, like I could easily see McKinnon, like everything that they think Isaiah Pacheco is going to be as far as playing a role in the passing game, and red zone work. I could easily see McKinnon.
So you're not going to target him at all. I'll say so the back end. So if he does fall though, you'll probably take him.
Oh yeah, I'm going to try.
Okay.
But the good thing is I got some shares right now. It's not a lot of shares, but I got a handful. I got a share in the main.
Okay.
Okay. So like I got a couple shares in football guys. So I got some late shares that I can like rely on and then kind of go from there.
So it's funny. So remember, and we were talking about this before we started recording, but when I first saw Pacheco in practice, like a highlight, I swore he looked like Tyreek Hill. You know, and I think
Yeah.
I went to the group chat. I was like, this guy
You
looks
said that,
And he donned
actually.
number
just
10
like,
too.
like exactly, like with the jersey,
Yeah.
it's like it looked like he was Tyreek Hill out there.
Yeah.
And I wish when I saw that, I was just like, you know what? If I think it's Tyreek Hill, maybe the defense might think it's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
might, you know, garner some attention. You know, maybe it's draftable, but it's just funny that he's actually now becoming a thing.
Yeah.
And if being a running back with the number 10 is just so weird, right?
Yeah, that's weird to me. Yeah, that's weird.
Package player.
Hey guys, this is the perfect time to hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button. It means a lot to us. It really helps out the show. Guys, I want to move on. Let's talk about Ken Walker III having a hernia surgery. What do you guys think about it? I mean, y'all are the medical guys. Like, I don't know. Like, do you expect him to be back week 1? Do you expect like
He better.
Everything I
Shoot.
do is from the
We got
neck
money
up.
riding on this.
I don't deal with groin, so I like that. I do not know. But I don't know. He had surgery, so he had surgery. I don't know. We still don't know. Like, the
Was it a
full
groin?
details. No, it was a hernia.
Hernia, right? Yeah.
They said it wasn't a sports hernia, but it could have been another hernia. So, but like in my mind, like if it's like an inguinal hernia, like I don't see how he's back week 1. Like to me, that sounds ridiculous. I don't know what but again, I don't know the specifics on that. So
Yeah.
I think Kenneth Walker's just, it really, again, it's kind of going back to like the way we were talking about with Isaiah Pacheco. It's really depending on the eye of the beholder. If you were drafting Kenneth Walker kind of like how I was with the idea that, okay,
he's going to start?
No, I wasn't drafting whether he's going to start.
Well, I thought that was the
That
bet.
was- that
Wasn't
was
that the bet?
I bet that he would start.
Ah, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
no, I was
But
drafting.
I wasn't. I don't have any Kenneth Walker though.
Go ahead.
Yeah, but so no, if I was drafting him with the idea that okay, maybe potentially he takes over the job, but more potentially that Rashad Penny gets hurt, and he's someone
And then
who could
he
like
fills in.
he's got draft capital. People touted him as one of the top 2 backs in the league. But if you are drafting him with the so if you kind of follow that mindset, then you can kind of buy the dip.
Yeah.
Because you weren't expecting him to start anyway, So it's not like, I don't think this is an injury, again, we don't know specifics, but I don't think this is an injury that's going to be like, really prevent him from getting back to like 100%.
Yeah.
I think that's the big question,
within the
though.
realm.
I
Yeah,
think that's
it
really
is.
what's going to tell
It
everything.
is.
Because if it's one of those injuries where it's going to take him a little bit of time to come
Yeah.
back,
But
so
they-
being right.
But I've heard it's not a core muscle. I've heard it's not a sports hernia. So to me, that helps out. That helps out. So we will see. But I think for me, like with the information that I have currently, I would buy the dip. Now, if you're someone who felt like Kenneth Walker, and there were a lot of people out here who felt like Kenneth Walker was just going to take the job, and he felt like he was already on his way to taking the job, and that he was the number 1, then if I had that mindset, then I would be off of Kenneth Walker right now. Because I'm not going to draft him as a starter, knowing that he just had surgery and that he may not play the first week, especially with Rashad Penny back there.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of depends on like how you view Kenneth Walker. I think ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, for this particular team, with the schedule that they have to start off with their coaching staff, and with Rashad Penny and what he did last year, and I'm someone who believes more in Rashad Penny.
Yeah.
With this particular team, I don't think it really matters all that much, to be quite honest. I honestly don't think it really should change the ADP, because I think, again, based off of the information that we have currently, he shouldn't be out too long, okay? And then whatever we thought was going to happen or whatever was going to play out, it's probably going to play out.
All right. Done?
Yeah. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it, man. It's too ominous. It's like, first of all, we don't really know what kind of hernia it is. The
Bet's
surgery,
still good, though.
I know. I pretty much lost that bet now. It just threw me off. But we don't know what kind of hernia it is. We don't know, and the point I just made a second ago is we don't know when he is right, how long it's going to take him to get right, Still a rookie, still going to be missing some valuable reps, And the situation, the reason I don't have much Kenneth Walker, the reason I don't have much Kenneth Walker is because the situation, I think, is not the greatest in Seattle. True. Their backfield, their offensive line is not good. They don't really have a quarterback that's really a threat to teams. They're in a division that's very, very difficult, where they're probably going to have to pass a lot. And the biggest thing was, and I don't know if I mentioned this when we were talking about the preseason games earlier, but in third down, this last preseason game, they brought in Travis Homer, to play the passing down job. So if he's not even going to get the passing down role for a team that's most likely not going to be in the lead in a lot of games, has a poor offensive line,
and that's been the case since last year that they've used another third down back. Like they had DJ Dallas, they had Travis Homer.
And another thing is, we don't even know he's good. Like he's never played in the NFL. Like we can go off of these college tapes and these dreams we have of what they're gonna be, but in reality, we don't know if when he touches the field with a professional team, he's gonna be successful. So honestly, out of the two, I'd rather draft Penny because with Penny we saw the last time he was on the field how great he performed. He was a top 5 running back. So
I will say this about Seattle. My issues with their offense is more so the mentality of Pete Carroll and how slow he wants to play.
Mm-hmm. That's another problem.
That's my main issue with them. I actually think that they will be fairly competent when it comes to running the ball. For some reason, they always are. I think their defense will be fairly competent.
You don't think part of that had to do with the team having to worry about Russell Wilson? And now Russell Wilson's gone, so that threat is gone?
No, I don't. I think Pete Carroll coaches his guys up. Okay. I don't think he's in the mindset of I'm just going to tank this year. I think he coaches his guys up.
I don't think he's going to tank.
Yeah, but I'm saying I think he coaches his guys up enough to where I don't think they're just going to be the worst rushing team in the league.
Okay. You think the Texans going to be the worst? No, I'm playing.
No, I think the Texans O-line is actually pretty good. I do not think they're going to be the worst. No.
Okay.
Come on now. Put that in the universe.
Let's talk about Will Fuller for a second. Are y'all still checking for Will Fuller?
The curious case.
The curious case of Will Fuller.
Yes, the
Are y'all
curious
still
case.
checking for him? Are you willing to draft him?
I've never checked for him, and I saw you draft him recently.
Accidentally.
That was accident.
I mean, I did it on purpose, but at the end, I was like, "Why the hell did I do that?" It was every so often you had them mental lapses in drafts. You're because I'm usually multitasking when I'm drafting, not because I feel I can multitask, because it helps calm me.
Yeah.
But I think I was multitasking. I don't know. Maybe I kind of was late on the clock, and I felt like this team needed some I was like, let me get Will Fuller, and immediately that was my first and last share.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I'm not even a Will Fuller type guy. I think there's this mystique. And
I'm not either, bro.
We're basing it
I'm
off
not either. Maybe because we're Texans fans.
Watson made Fuller.
Yeah.
Fuller's not that type of receiver.
Yeah.
He just had a badass quarterback.
Fuller's had one good season.
Yeah.
He's a deep non-threat. He's really nothing much more.
Here's the crazy thing.
He balled out of necessity, and because he had a quarterback that put him on his
Here's
back.
the crazy thing that I know y'all don't want to hear it, or other people on the viewers don't want to hear it, but in reality, Bill O'Brien's offense made Will Fuller, bro. His offense made Will Fuller. I'm telling you.
Nobody's giving Bill O'Brien
So now
credit.
that he doesn't have Bill O'Brien anymore,
Yeah.
he's going to go back into a pumpkin. So I think because what else has he done? Before that last season with the Texans where, we were drafting him like crazy when Hopkins was gone.
That 1 year, because we knew he was going to be the guy.
Before that 1 year, he did nothing.
Yeah.
Since that year, he's done nothing. Yet everybody still is attracted to Will Fuller. So it's literally that one season that's kind of made his value go up.
Jones.
You said what?
Give me
yeah, definitely. So yeah, I'm not checking for Will Fuller, and I put the tweet earlier, the curious case, because I was just thinking to myself, what the hell is he doing?
Yeah.
I heard you. There may be a school of thought that maybe he's just waiting on the Deshaun Watson news. And
okay, even if he is.
Because look, if he's I'm waiting on the Deshaun Watson news, okay, if he's only out 6 games, and I mean, they can just text. He's a free agent. He can text anybody he wants.
Yeah. Right.
So if he's okay, if he's only out 6 games, maybe 7 games, I feel like this is a strong team. I want to ride with my boy.
But even so.
Or if he's out, 12 games of the entire year, you know what, I'll go to Dallas.
No, even so, and I don't even think it really has much to do with the Browns.
Yeah.
We haven't heard anything from him at all.
Yeah.
And that's the weird thing about it. It's not even he's doing, because I don't know if y'all remember when Jadeveon Clowney wasn't signed with the team for a majority of the last offseason. He was still doing interviews saying, I'm looking for the right team.
Yeah. But you don't typically hear much from free agents as well, unless they're
No, you hear from a lot of high-end free agents, you look, like Julio Jones, looking for the right situation. Other teams he was talking to, he's going to see what's going to go on.
Oh, I didn't hear anything from him.
But we haven't heard nothing from. Nobody said they've heard. Every report I've seen about Will Fuller is about teams checking on Will Fuller, but it's not the other way around. It's not Will Fuller is trying to see for a good situation, or
you got a good camp.
I haven't seen Will Fuller is trying to monitor the Watson situation. I haven't seen any. I haven't seen Will Fuller coming in for a visit.
Yeah.
It's nothing, and we're 2, maybe 3 weeks away from the season.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he plays a position where it's not going to be hard to figure out how to, do what he needs to do. But It's just weird I haven't heard anything at all.
Yeah.
And it's not like there hasn't been injuries going on. I mean, Julio found a job easily. We know the Packers are looking for somebody.
Yeah.
The Lions are probably looking for somebody. You know,
James
there's
Washington is down
in Dallas looking for something. The Ravens are probably looking for somebody. It's like there's plenty of places. The Rams lost Van Jefferson. They might be looking for somebody.
Yeah, he could be a good. So maybe he's like waiting on the highs. Who knows?
Man, what if he's just done?
It's possible.
That's possible.
And that would be crazy to me.
Yeah.
Maybe not too crazy, just knowing Will Fuller, but just still, just like he's just out of there.
Yeah. I don't know.
You
He
know?
could be.
So, by the way, one other thing that stuck out to me, I think Jeff Wilson didn't play. I think Jeff Wilson might be the running back 2 for the Niners.
Yeah.
I think so. And I bring that up because when you were talking about you were on the you pick a Will Fuller, I was in the underdog draft yesterday, and that was my last pick. I was doing something. I think I was getting something to eat, and I heard that the clock tick tick, and I was like, oh, because I wanted Jeff Wilson. I went to the run back button. I scrolled down, like, where's Jeff Wilson? Couldn't find it. Like tick tick tick. I was like, Beatty. And I was so mad after. I was like, damn. Because I scrolled up a little bit and just said Jeff Wilson.
I low-key been picking up Jeff Wilson, as often as I can in them later rounds. And that kind of goes to back to that, like...
He's not getting drafted much.
No.
That goes back to our discussion about the handcuffs. Like, I'm kind of like... I think handcuffs, the way... I think they've changed just like the NFL has changed in general.
Yeah. You think you're more of a handcuff committee, right?
Well, because there's so much more committees in the league right now, like the handcuff situation... isn't really like as as easy to figure out as it was in years past, where you had like a 3-down workhorse back and then you had his handcuff. Now you got guys like Eckler who plays like kind of a non-traditional role, and we're trying to figure out who his handcuff's going to be. One handcuff may be good at this, and the other handcuff may be good at that.
I think the biggest takeaway, though, for that point, and we didn't even mention it earlier, is Spiller might be going way, way too high.
Way high.
Yeah.
Like extremely high.
He is. And that's the thing. It's like, it's funny. And the same thing with Rachaad White. I'm not saying that he's going too high, because I think...
no, him too.
But, okay.
Him too.
And I'm not going to argue on that point, but... I remember, in the early offseason, those first couple of episodes when we're kind of in Dynasty mode and we're talking about a lot of the rookies that we like. And I was just like, and I went on that long diatribe. I was like, I watched Rachaad White play and I'm like, not impressed.
You weren't excited,
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, to me, he's like, and I felt the same thing about Spiller. Spiller to me is like the prototypical Jag. Like, I do not get it. I do not get.
People are high on Spiller, man.
So
I was in the Dynasty League. Somebody traded me like almost all their picks.
Yeah.
To take Spiller, and I was like, sure, yeah, take him. Man,
But the thing with Rachaad White is like, what's behind him? Yeah,
behind him or in front of him,
or in front of him.
Okay.
Yeah, what's in front of him? And maybe I may be like downplaying Gio. It's funny, I drafted Gio one
but
time.
Gio wasn't even the second guy that came in the game. It was Keyshawn Vaughn.
Keyshawn Vaughn, I would write off, and I know I shouldn't do that, but I would write it off.
He looked good in a couple games at the end of last year, though.
So, but that's the thing. Yeah, like we don't know, but I think like I'm less worried about what's in front of him currently, and thinking more so that like, the likelihood of Fournette missing 2+ games is pretty high, and I just love that situation. So it's more I'm buying that situation. Whereas with Spiller, like I don't know, I don't necessarily trust his talent, and I don't know that he's all that much better than Josh Kelly. And now Josh Kelly may have improved, because remember we were on Josh Kelly last year, and then we come to find out.
Who's the other guy they got there?
Justin Jackson. Remember we were trying
they had another guy too, though, right? Just Jackson.
Larry Roundtree,
right.
But I remember last year we were trying to figure out, was it Justin Kelly? Was it Justin?
Yeah, we were trying hard.
But in the back of my mind, I'm like, why wouldn't it be Justin Jackson? Like, well, he can do a lot more. He's like a veteran. Like, and I think it's because we were talking about also new regime. They drafted Justin Kelly or
it's
Joshua
funny.
Kelly. But like the thing is like, in my mind, I was like, Justin Jackson looks good. I know he's had difficulty staying healthy. And then sure enough, Eckler goes down and Justin Jackson has himself a game. And we didn't know. No one, you really didn't even know who the handcuff was until later in the season. So I'm changing my handcuff approach right now as far as like, I need to like have some confidence either that you were the guy or that you were just in this amazing situation. So I have no issue with
I think you're approaching it wrong, though, man.
Well, then
let me tell you why.
Let's talk about some of these high.
But wait. That last point he just made, I think you're approaching it wrong
Siri
because
disagrees, but go ahead.
Because if what you're saying is all these guys you weren't sure about who it was, because in reality you could have taken a stab at any of us. It's not like other people were beating you to them. It's almost like you could have picked the pick of your litter. You know what I'm saying? So in reality, because what's funny is we were looking for the Titans back up. We were looking for the Chargers back up.
we
is
were
last
looking.
year.
Yeah,
This
we
is
were
last
looking
year,
for the
yeah.
Seahawks situation.
Oh my goodness, Seahawks situation.
We were trying to figure out the Texans situation.
Yeah.
Those 4 teams in the tourney run.
Yeah.
The guy that was the guy.
was on the
went
waiver.
off.
And was on the waiver in many leagues.
So think about all the guys we were targeting, trying to secure. If we ended up getting the guy, because it was a gamble, but it's you can say it's a gamble, but it's really a gamble between like 4 guys, three players.
Yeah.
So if we ended up picking the guy, that guy could have been a guy that was sitting on our bench.
This is the
would
crazy.
have been a tournament winner for us.
And you got me thinking about it. Credit to you because we talk about it like, oh, we got to go with we got to look for those like high end like handcuff situations. That may be like the wrong move. Like, why look at the high end handcuff situations?
Exactly. Exactly. Because what I tell you about handcuffs,
he's been like preaching this for like years. And
they're
every year
all
I'm
the
like,
same.
nah. But this may be the year where I finally agree with you. Like the high end handcuff situation is like not what you should go after. Like let's get like all like those mid range guys that people like don't want to draft because they're not quite
they're
sure.
handcuffs.
Yeah.
Because honestly, they all have
We brought up
the
a lot.
same value.
The Chargers.
But once the starter goes down,
Yeah.
their value shoots above all the rest.
The Chargers, the Ravens,
Yes.
potentially the 49ers, even Darrell Williams.
Yeah.
There's so many guys that go
Yeah.
in like 17, 18, 19's range, and guys that probably we're not drafting right now that, your Dontrell Hillers of the world, if you believe in that, that aren't even getting drafted.
Foreman
that may
last
be
year.
the back. Yeah.
Foreman, yeah.
And guess what?
telling you.
Foreman may not even be the hand because he wasn't the first one in the game, and Chuba Hubbard actually looked fairly
Yeah,
decent.
you're right. You're right.
And so it may not even be Dante
could
Foreman.
be
It may be
Chuba.
Chuba Hubbard
It
who's
could
not
be
getting
Chuba.
drafted. So
You
like,
see?
there's so many situations where like, okay, we're spending this high cost for these handcuff, these high end handcuffs, and then like
It's not
you
the
gotta
play.
hold. The thing too is like you have to hold them.
yeah.
You gotta hold them.
Yeah.
Like
Because
I
if
spent
they're
this
not-
draft capital on TDP, I gotta hold them.
Yeah, because I mean, people say this standalone value, but standalone value, honestly, for some of these backups
that's
suck,
BS.
right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not,
You don't want-
it's not real true value.
yeah.
So in reality, all these high end handcuffs you just have on your bench, if the starter's not hurt, they're really just wasting on your bench,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And you use such high draft capital to get them. It's like.
Yeah.
It's
like
you,
the guy-
you kind of have to look at the guys you missed out on. Like,
Yeah.
damn, I could have had this guy that I
Yeah.
can actually use to contribute
Yeah.
to my team.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm hoping for this guy to have this phantom opportunity that I don't know when it's going to come.
Yeah.
And when it does come, I can't guarantee I'm going to have that great of an outcome.
Yeah.
And it's a defensive move too. I think about drafts time, and I mentioned this in the group. Like, if you draft like guys who like draft like Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson, and then come back later and then draft like a Daniel Jones or like Tua or Trevor Lawrence. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, yes. You know why? Because that took away a roster spot from that player. So that's one less spot. That's like a 5% chance that you had it hitting on someone, and you got to waste it on a quarterback. And how likely are you going to hold that quarterback?
They're going to drop the quarterback.
You're going to hold that.
That's
quarterback.
one
And if
thing.
you do, I actually love that because now that's one less roster spot that you have to pick someone up. So the same thing with like these high end handcuffs. Like maybe it's better that somebody reaches for them so that now like I can have someone like a Rondale Moore fall to me.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened. That's what I did in the main yesterday. I was like, you know what? I started kind of approaching it differently. I was like, let me grab the Rondale Moores. Let me grab the MVSs of the world because you don't know. Because this is the thing too. This is like a completely different subject topic. Is that like we keep thinking about a player as his total end of year points when in reality injuries are going to occur.
Yep.
Like and just think about the KC wide receiver room right now. Juju is already hurt. What's the likelihood of Juju kind of having a hamstring? or something?
Sky was hurt at one point.
Yeah. Or what's the likelihood?
Cole is hurt.
Yeah. What's the likelihood? Muko's like maybe hurt. Like, what's the likelihood of like one of these starters going down? And then if one wide receiver starter goes down in the KC back room, that MVS who we're looking at, he can't be the guy. He's just a deep threat. Or if you're not a Sky Moore believer, he's running with the twos. One guy goes down. Boom! Automatically, now that guy.
So
same thing with like that's the same thing that's like basically the Amon Ra.
So here's the cheat code to what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's the situation across the board on every single team in every single position group.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So if you understand that concept,
yeah.
then you have to allow your mind to say you can draft any player in any situation if you can see the path to them having a role.
Yeah.
Any single player.
Yeah.
And I think a big problem a lot of drafters do is they're so stuck on certain offenses
that they target, and everybody's targeting these same offenses, they're missing out on value just falling.
Yeah.
Because let's look at the Chargers situation. And maybe people just had the rookie fever, so they just saw Spiller and that was it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But people were not drafting anybody else in that backfield.
Yeah.
Look at the Steelers situation. A few people were
talked
drafting
about that.
Durant. I've talked about it, yeah. But mostly nobody's really drafting anybody backup running backs in the Steelers backfield. You know, if you go through team by team, you'll start to notice that there's people that are one injury away, maybe two.
Yeah.
Dearness Johnson's two.
Yeah.
You know,
Two is the max,
At the
right?
moment. Mhm.
But
the Washington tight end situation. Like I was
Yeah,
talking about it.
I mean-
like that's
you can go every single
Yeah,
team,
yeah,
and if
yeah.
you could just see, it just takes one, especially if it takes one and nobody's drafting him.
Yeah.
Draft him.
Yeah.
Just draft him, because it could easily work out for you, because in this game of football, professional football, opportunity is so key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Opportunity
know,
is king.
and the talent level, you have these high-end talented players, but to some extent it starts to get flat.
Yeah.
You know? And they're just all great players. They just need to have the ball in their hands. They're all going to shine. I mean, remember, all these guys were 4 or 5 stars in high school. So, man.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is people say, "Oh man, this dude came out of nowhere." He really didn't come out of nowhere. A path just opened for him.
Yes.
You know, and you just didn't have him on your team, or you didn't have him in your line of sight, so you feel like he came out of nowhere.
I love that. A path
But-
just opened up for him.
But if you have like this kind of like line of sight where like, okay, and I'm gonna go to this Washington tight end situation, because I've been like monitoring this situation. I feel like this is an offense that has a role cut out for the tight end, and this is a quarterback who loves to target the tight end. Go back and watch the first 2 series of the Commanders' first preseason game, and watch Wentz pepper this rookie QB converted tight end. Who are
you talking about? Is it Cole Turner?
No, it was Amani Rogers. You don't read the group? Amani Rogers.
busy,
Remember,
man.
I had to like running waiver wire ad list.
Yeah,
I was
remember
jokingly
that.
adding him,
Nah,
but
keep doing that, though.
he was a quarterback literally last
What's his
year in
name?
college. Armani Rogers, I believe his name's
Armani Rogers?
Yeah.
I don't know this guy.
But just go back and just watch the game, and he peppered him with targets. Okay, were they like, did he score a touchdown? No. Were they like big chunk plays? No. But
It
in the
don't matter.
tight
We're talking about tight end. Yeah,
the tight
exactly.
end
It
premium.
don't
And I'm not
matter.
saying go draft Armani Rogers, but what I'm saying is like, you have an offense that has a role for a tight end, a receiving tight end, and you have a quarterback that loves to target the tight end. You know, and you don't really have like this like amazing red zone
Weapon.
wide receiver,
Yeah,
receiving weapon. So like that's how we got on Logan
Logan
Thomas.
Thomas.
So,
That's
Yeah,
exactly
Cobra
what
Ferrer
I'm
has
saying.
always had a tight end.
yeah, but the problem is like that entire tight end room is hurt. So I'm keeping my eye out on like Cole Turner to see if like, okay, can he get back in time enough to be healthy? Because I don't think Logan Thomas will start the year, and I think it'll take him some time. I heard he had like he had like one of the worst ACLs that you could have. He's a little bit older, so you can stash him. I think he's going to end up on the PUP. It's just my guess. I haven't heard anything, but it's just my guess. And I think if he ends up on PUP, he's going to get dropped in a lot of leagues. So I've stopped drafting him because I just figure I can just pick him up at the
Later,
end.
yeah.
But I'm keeping my eye out for Cole Turner, and then if like Cole Turner like is hurt, then I'll keep my eye out for Armani Rogers. Like the problem is he's literally just converted to tight end, so he can't do everything that you want the tight end to do. But
Yeah. All right, guys, that's over
One
an
more,
hour.
we don't go. One more topic.
No, man.
Okay.
man, we was on fire tonight.
Let me say.
We went through 6 topics.
Okay, let me say one thing
All right.
real quick. Rumor has it that the Seahawks might be interested in. Was it the Seahawks? No, I'm sorry. The Lions might be interested in trading for Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, just in case something pops off. You're kind of prepared for that. And let's see. Danny Gray looked pretty good. I'm a little iffy on him. Josh Kelly, again, the guy kind of target him. But Tristan Ebner,
Yeah.
just gonna mention him again. You know, he looked
Yep.
good. He looked good.
Yeah.
He looked good.
Yeah, I backed off Khalil Herbert watching Tristan Evans. I'm not gonna lie, I backed off, and he's like, it's rare that a third string can do that to you, but
Yeah.
He looked
and
good.
And then last but not least, I heard somewhere that Madison might be available if the right deal came, and if that happens, because I think we talked about Madison being the guy for Cook, because that guy can be valuable. You know, if that happens, now you're looking at Kene Nwangwu, who was the fastest guy in the draft last year, or Ty Chandler, who looked good this last preseason game. You know, so just some guys to just kind of keep in the back of your mind.
All right, guys, that's all that we have this week. Please subscribe. Please like, rate, subscribe to this episode. We're out.
Sir.